just the vibe of being in a country like Sweden and their top class universities, and just the whole feeling was quite unique. It was as I expected. So I had placed them at a very high pedestal when it comes to the research labs and just the whole feeling, because it's a very different education system than India. The biggest difference between our system and their system is you don't need to, it's not about how much you remember, it's about how well you apply it. I think that's the biggest difference. When it came to subject choosing, for example, I went into the medical engineering track, but I was able to choose full medical courses, full biology courses from a medical university as well. Or I could choose from any department in the university, irrespective of where I'm studying. I think the electives, they give you the freedom to choose, knowing that you know what to choose for your field. Every subject you take, be very careful as to the practical advantages you can get out of it. And between the year 1 and year 2, take a good internship at one of the labs. You might think that it is, oh, why should I work for free? Because that here, if you work in academia, you will not be paid for your work compared to industry. But the knowledge and experience you will get, the connections you will get is priceless.
All these professors at Sweden, they are very, very closely connected with the industries, and they work part-time at the universities and full-time at the industries, which helps the students in a holistic way.
Yes. So a lot of the professors, in order to expand their research, they also open their own startups. They combine with other professors, and in that way they make very, very interesting concepts in the companies they open. Considering Sweden is known as the land of startups, it makes sense that any good professor has their own place to explore the idea, get grants and advance the research. Credit-based system, and how to give the credits completely depends on the professor. It has nothing to do with the field, the university, nothing. If the professor feels that just an assignment to see your skills is enough, they'll just give you an assignment, a written assignment which you can spend 15 or 20 days. Or some professors feel, no, I need to get the credits through an exam. So they give all the 7 or 7.5 credits for the exam. And some people can choose to divide it into 4 credits for the exam, 2 for a project, 1 for an assignment, in that way. So it completely depends on the professor, including the passing grade. Everything is left up to the professor for that subject. And then I started applying for different roles in biotechnology, and more specifically bioelectronics. And then I found my latest role in the university, where I'll be working with brain cancer research and brain on a chip technology, which is how they combine brain tissue with electronic chips.
Hello everybody, welcome all of you. My name is Shivaraman, Director of Europe Study Center. Today we are going to interview our student Vivek, who studied in Sweden and currently working in Sweden. Vivek, welcome to our show.
Thank you, and nice to meet everyone. So I am Vivek, and I completed my studies in Sastra University, India, and then I went to Sweden to study at KTH Royal Institute in the field of medical engineering. And since then, I've been also working in the research and academia side for about 2 to 3 years. So that's my basic working background. And I would like you to take you through the journey of how and what I did.
We have 100%. We have a lot of things to discuss. So first, let's start with freezing up your study destination. So how did you choose Europe as your study destination?
Yes. So about the second year of my bachelor's, I was thinking as to where to apply my my bachelor and whatever I studied there. So I had a bachelor's in electrical and electronic engineering, with on short form Trichy. And in a way, there were many ways to apply what I learned in that field. It could be in pure electronics, for example, semiconductors and mobile chips, or there could be a more inherent application in the medical side or in other ways where I can contribute. So I felt that where I would be compatible would be on the medical industry, because there is never a short amount of questions to answer there. And I felt that the bridge connecting electronics and medicine was still very new, because there is so many different solutions which are coming up in the last 20, 30 years with the boom in biotech. So I thought that was where I wanted to go. And hence the plan to shift to biomedical engineering.
Yeah, I would not say like shift to biomedical engineering, because it's an extension of
Yes.
Tripoli.
Yes.
Of course, leaning fully towards the electronic side of the medical industry, which you rightly said, the synergy between the medical industry and biology, especially during the time when you left India to Sweden, was just picking up big time.
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. And I still, I now I recollect all the discussions we had with your grandparents, parents, and
Oh,
all
yes.
these things, which which we will discuss shortly. So then, how did you find us? How did you find Europe Study Center?
Oh, this was actually thanks to my grandfather. And he usually starts watching programs related to different songs and things in the morning at like 4 5 in the morning. And then one random morning he woke up, and this was about during my fourth year of my bachelor's. He's like, Vivek, I just saw this Euro Study Center ad at 5 in the morning, and I really wanted to share that with you in case you wanted to go ask them what are the possible opportunities there. And basically that's how it started. It was as simple as that. And then he told me, he called me and my mom, and then we all sat together and he said, Radha, go give it a try. I think this will give Vivek a good overview of what the world has to offer. And I think he might take a good decision from here. And you never know how life can change. So that was basically his way to introduce me to the ESE side. Of course, I was planning to do my master's in the Europe, but as you know, things are quite tough as to how to, with the applications, payments, fields, and different things. So I think he really found a solution there. So that's how I found out about Euro Study Center.
I also take this opportunity to thank your grandfather on this particular aspect, basically. So then, you were also looking at UK, right? At that time, I faintly remember.
I mean, anywhere. I mean, I had a plan for Sweden and UK because they had a lot of collaborations between technical universities and medical universities. That was basically my plan on my behalf. And then I tried to fit the bill as to which countries have that possibility to do so, because it's very hard to find pure collaborations between technical and medical universities. It's quite hard. So that's how I had a plan between 2 to 3 different countries there.
Yeah, because I was very particular from day one to Vivek, strictly no to UK. At least from my side, I will not process those application. Whatever challenges are, brother Vivek, Schengen is Schengen, other countries are other countries.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a big thanks to you as well, because moment it was bounded down to Europe, I think it became very clear that Sweden was where I wanted to go. So I think there is absolutely no regrets there. Absolutely great decision.
So what all countries you applied in Europe? Sweden and then?
Sweden and I think it was Delft University. That was Netherlands. I think it's pretty much only 2. Because my focus was to get in one of those 2 places.
Super. Yeah. I still remember you were very focused, sir. Whatever it is, we will apply and give it a try for these universities and take it up from there. What was the master program you got admitted to in KTH?
So I got admitted into medical engineering, which was it was a top choice of the 4 choices I had given, because in Sweden you apply with a priority order as to which ones you want. So exactly from that process, I found out that I had gotten medical engineering, which was my first needed option.
Now coming to the first semester at KTH, how was it?
It was as expected. I was expecting a whole different world when it comes to how to approach academics, how to approach the way the professors communicated with you. But overall, just the vibe of being in a country like Sweden and their top class universities, and just the whole feeling was quite unique. It was as I expected. So I had placed them at a very high pedestal when it comes to the research labs and just the whole feeling, because it's a very different education system than India. So I was very looking forward to it. And I think I adjusted quite easily to the place. So I was not really having any problems on that side in my first semester. I was locked in when I went there.
That too, Vivek, when you study in the premier university in that country, it adds all the more flavors and all the other aspects towards greatness. I mean, it's always good to study in the premier university in that country. Do you accept that or not?
Absolutely. I think more than anything, even though whatever they teach could be the same as you might learn in another university. I think it's the belief that you put in effort and you made it to a place which can give you the opportunity to become something. I think that's the biggest advantage of these universities is they give you the opportunity to do what you want. I think that confidence which it gives you is very different when you get in a place like KTH. So definitely, I 100% accept with what you said.
That's what, when Vivek, when it comes to Sweden or Czech Republic or Hungary or Germany, whatever it is, at ESC, the mantra is very simple. Whatever the grades are, let's try for the number one, number two university in that country, or else change the country. Don't change the university and don't compromise. I think this success formula keeps us at by far the number one firm in India. Wonderful. So when it comes to the learning aspect, Vivek, what all changes you need to make in your learning aspect once you reached KTH?
The biggest difference between our system and their system is you don't need to, it's not about how much you remember, it's about how well you apply it. I think that's the biggest difference. And that makes it very tough to pass the exams or understand the questions provided by the professors, because they are like, use whatever material you want, use whatever Google you want. In the end, we need an application based answer for these questions. So that in a way makes it very tough and very different than what we are used to, because we are used to remembering, applying, and then getting an answer. They give you all the formulas. They give you a calculator. They give you Google. They'll say, do whatever you want. I want an answer for this question. So I think that makes it an extremely good challenge to write the exams here.
That's what our elders used to say, right? Get uncomfortable to become super comfortable later.
Yes, absolutely.
Facing new challenges, new environment, new place, new people. I always tell my students and parents, these things can only make you stronger, provided you are committed towards the goal. That's all,
Absolutely, absolutely.
So in a university like KTH, which is, I feel, they are in the top, I think 80 or 90 in the world, where the world has lakhs of universities, to study in a double-digit ranked university in the world. That's really amazing. So how helpful were the professors at Royal Institute of Technology, KTH, Sweden? How helpful they were?
I think the first thing they don't have is the bias that you come from a different country. So you might know this, you might not know this. They treat every student quite similar in that aspect. They give you the assurance that you know something, but at the same time, they are also not afraid to challenge you that something could be right, something could be wrong. They are also students of their own profession. I think that makes it very easy to communicate with them. I think that's the biggest difference which I felt when I went there. It was almost, I felt easier communicating with the professor than with my own peers who are my age. So that was the biggest difference which I found there.
And also, don't you feel all these professors at Sweden, they are very, very closely connected with the industries, and they work part-time at the universities and full-time at the industries, which helps the students in a holistic way?
Yes. So a lot of the professors, in order to expand their research, they also open their own startups. They combine with other professors. And in that way, they make very, very interesting concepts in the companies they open. Considering Sweden is known as the land of startups, it makes sense that any good professor has their own place to explore the idea, get grants, and advance the research. So it all depends on our ability to find that, communicate with them, and tell them how we want to contribute to their research. So I think that really they give us that platform to communicate with them.
And we really get motivated and really feel high, right? When we work or even talk to these professors or even listen to their lectures. Don't you feel so?
Yes. So just listening to them breaking down very complex things into simple, very understandable math and science helps us feel that even though there is so much we don't know, we are able to learn it with time. There is enough time to learn these things slowly and surely, because it is so important to know these things before we approach an assignment or an exam, because that's how they base their credits on. They don't really base it on complexity. It's about how simply you break things into and apply that in the exam. So I think that is something which is very humbling to go there when you're coming from this system.
Because I always feel, Vivek, however big the university is, however big the infrastructure is, without good professors, it's like building a beautiful house without water and electricity. It's of no use, right? Professors are the key
Yes.
element.
I mean, we always used to have some professors on YouTube, like Walter Lewin for physics, and you had two, three other people who were really popular in YouTube. And we always wish that maybe we are a bit lucky in life to find such people in our journey. And I felt I found two or three people over the course of my 4 years who really gave you the same energy and vibe towards teaching. Every professor was good, but there were some people who really felt like, wow, this is like the same person whom we used to see in YouTube. So it was very, very interesting to meet such people.
Nice, very nice, very nice. So basically, how does the examinations work at KTH? How do they assess
So
you?
this, yes. So here it's a credit-based system, and how to give the credits completely depends on the professor. It has nothing to do with the field, the university, nothing. If the professor feels that just an assignment to see your skills is enough, they'll just give you an assignment, a written assignment which you can spend 15 or 20 days. Or some professors feel, no, I need to get the credits through an exam. So they give all the 7 or 7.5 credits for the exam. And some people can choose to divide it into 4 credits for the exam, two for a project, one for an assignment, in that way. So it completely depends on the professor, including the passing grade, what everything is left up to the professor for that subject. So it's very custom.
Wonderful, wonderful. So it's like very flexible, right? You can play it around and do it as per your wish and will and
Yes.
matching your interest. That applies same to the
Yes.
subject choosing as well, right?
Yes. So when it came to subject choosing, for example, I went into the medical engineering track, but I was able to choose full medical courses, full biology courses from a medical university as well. Or I could choose from any department in the university, irrespective of where I'm studying. I think the electives, they they give you the freedom to choose, knowing that you know what to choose for your field. That they give you that trust and that responsibility to plan your career in life. So they give you that freedom to do what you want. So there is endless courses and opportunities to choose from in the same university.
Yeah. I guess, I could faintly recollect whatever your aspirations were about going abroad. I guess KTH would have satisfied all your cornerstones and all your expectations, correct?
Yes, as long as it, until, I mean, there is the pre-COVID era and the post-COVID era, as I say it. So pre-COVID was when we were allowed to go to universities and experience that sort of university life. But even when we didn't have that the direct life, they still did everything to make it as interactive as possible. We still had lab sessions on specific days, arranged specific times so that they can have those, follow the rules, and at the same time, make sure the student gets their worth. So that is also they did from their perspective. So absolutely.
The more the challenging the situation is, the best comes out of a particular individual or an entity or a university. The best always
Yes.
moves towards the best, and they don't sit and find reasons for not doing it. They would rather find ways to do it. Basically, that's how it is.
Yes. Yes.
So,
They
uh,
really use the
so the engineering, Vivek, the engineering aspects you learned in Sweden at KTH, now into your professional life, how much it is helping you?
Yes. So the engineering aspect was a lot. So compared to my bachelor's, which had the power electronics and the big things, the big generators and motors, and also the small electronic circuits, as expected, the medical department they use the smaller side of electronics. They have the basic electronics and circuit design, microchips. So they went smaller and smaller because that's what the devices need to be today. They need to be small, compact, and fast. So their main electronic technology was based on the nanomaterials, chip design, and also microcircuitry. So that's the aspect which they really covered, because those are the things which are used in my current field as well, which I will of course explain later. So pretty much everything I learned in electronics in the university will come to fruition when I start doing my job. So definitely, I would say around 70 to 75% does.
Exactly. So where I used to say in office when students come, including when you came, the universities are connected with industries, and whatever you learn, it's what they use in the industries right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we all studied this Trichy. I am also a Trichy student, which I would have told you plenty of times,
Yes.
Whenever I meet a Trichy student right now, I still see him studying the 8085 microprocessor and working on this traffic signal project. I feel like,
Oh, I know that feeling. Yes.
and the more than that, I feel the biggest problem is they just blame the students end of the day. Here you are judged based on your marks, right? Students with lot of marks, they are looked at it differently. Students with average marks, they are looked at it differently. And each universities have a different grading system. Across all these chaos, to still get an admit at KTH and come out with flying colors, I guess it's really amazing, Vivek. About your final year project,
Yes.
how did it happen? So you picked up some topic from the university, the professor said, or you did it outside the university? Enlighten us.
So my goal was to do my thesis project in bioelectronics because that's the field I wanted to work in. And as I was trying to find professors to do it, turns out there were students who had asked those professors about a year back in KTH itself. The good professor, and they also had some students in their own class whom they offered the research position to. So I couldn't get it at KTH directly. And then I thought of, okay, I need to stick to my field, even if I go beyond the final date. And then I started applying to Karolinska, Uppsala, and different other universities who are collaborating with KTH. And then I found my thesis at Karolinska Institute, which is one of the very good medical universities.
Top university. Top.
Yeah, top, pretty much. So I did my thesis there, and October 2020 was the deadline for finding my thesis, and I found mine on a day before Christmas. That's when I found my thesis. So I stuck with what I wanted to because there was no compromise when it came to the thesis, considering my plan was to stay and work in academia. So I was very glad it turned out that way. And it was a perfect application of everything I have learned until then. So that was my journey to getting my thesis. So the thesis was to work on 3 different bacterial strains. So we were working on what they call bacterial biofilms, which are known to contaminate a lot of medical devices and a lot of sterile equipments in the healthcare industry. And because they were very different from individual bacteria, because they had a system where they could filter out toxins and work together. So their individual property in a group was very different than individual themselves. So it was a very new sort of strain which they had found out. And my job was to work in 2 or 3 of the novel genetic strains and try to develop a system to measure their growth rate, their how they're able to handle different toxins, and sort of find clues to target their weaknesses. So that was my project over around 6 months.
Yeah, but Vivek, I guess it would be really challenging, right, to work on a new strain. What do you think about that?
Oh, yes. So microbiology was the new topic which I had to learn because electronics aspect of it was quite simpler to understand. But the microbiology topic was where I had to do about 1 or 2 months of study. And also in that atmosphere where it's everyone around me knows what I want to learn. So there is really no way to tell them that, you see, there is some things I know, but that is irrelevant to them. So I had to get into a new room filled with people who know things I don't know anything about. So I think I really embraced that challenge because it's a whole different world than working in electronics, which is sort of my stronghold compared to what it was now. So absolutely enjoyed it.
Yeah, Vivek, don't you feel these highest level of challenges makes Vivek more stronger?
Very important. I think, as they say, if you're the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong room. But I would say the exact opposite. If you're the dumbest in the room, that's exactly the room you need to be in. So absolutely enjoyed it. Even today, I enjoy being that person in the room because you can't go any lower than that. The only way is to go up. So I think it works out perfectly.
Now, talking about your professional life. So you finished your master thesis and you started applying for jobs, right? So enlighten about this particular aspect.
Yes, in Sweden, how it works is so they provide year after year visa. So in your first year, you need to get at least 60 credits. You have to get 60 credits to get the visa for the second year. So you can't laze around and spend 3 or 4 years. So in your second year, once you get the visa, you have to make sure to finish your thesis before you get the next visa to search for your job. And so after I finished my thesis, I had about 15 days before I had to apply for the job search visa, which they gave here for about 1 year. So that visa took about 6-7 months to come. So I had no time to visit other countries or do anything. The focus was to get the job there. So in a way, that really helped out as well. And so once you start the job search permit, here you're allowed to live with a ongoing permit according to the rules here. And then I started applying for jobs. And I would say that the searching for the job aspect really changed every year, depending on the experience I was getting and what I learned about this country. In the start, after I finished my thesis, my goal was to work in academia. About 50 to 100 applications in, I found my second interview, out of which I got my first role in a cell biology based company. So that was my first step. So I worked in that company for about 1.5 years before I shifted to the next company, which was working a bit more on the biological side, because I wanted to get experience in the biology aspect, because I have enough experience and research knowledge in the electronic side. So they were also in a cell biology company, but working with human stem cells and sort of genetic engineering and that sort of research, because their research companies were working on interfacing the electronics with their medical tissue. But I wanted to get some experience here before I shifted to research in the field I want to work in. And hence I got an experience of the clean rooms and their different how to perform experiments there, how to suit up like those people we see in TV with like big helmets and stuff. I have done everything. So it was a journey which was very new, and had to get used to a lot of regulations. So I think that was the journey in the last 2.5-3 years. And once I felt I was ready to get back into academia, because now I can say that I have experience in electronics and I have about 2.5 years experience working in biotech labs and research. I was like, okay, now is the time to go for the strike, in a sense. And then I started applying for different roles in biotechnology, in more specifically bioelectronics. And then I found my latest role in the university, where I'll be working with brain cancer research and brain on a chip technology, which is how they combine brain tissue with electronic chips.
Wow.
So
brain on
is,
a chip.
Yeah. So I will explain it as your questions go. So
please explain that. That is most interesting.
Absolutely. So here they have a new technology called brain organoids, where we are culturing stem cells and programming them to become brain tissue. So the purpose of this research is that we have a lot of brain diseases and cancers we cannot, of course, test on people, because we don't have, it's against ethics. And then doing mouse studies and animal research takes a lot of time, because it takes time to grow the mouse and then the brains and everything. So they had to find a more synthetic way to get things done, but at the same time emulate the natural brain tissue and its processes. So it's a very new technology called brain organoids, where we let stem cells which are converted into brain cells self-organize and become a tissue, which they will become on their own because of how the material is in program. So our brain tissue is also like self-growing and self-modeling. So we use that aspect to grow brain tissues, and over time we can start doing different drug research and tumor tests, and then get data out of them. And my project, it is a way to build a system around the brain tissue to inject and remove food, to inject electronic data and then receive data from it, and then sort of make a system to measure all quantifiable objects and measurements with related to the brain. So that is my project, where we will be working on multiple cancers and how it affects the brain tissue over time. So that is my project work, which I'll be doing in the upcoming years.
Man, what I would like to say, Vivek, I think, we should do part 2, part 3, part 4 every year to understand about your, brain chip technologies and all those things. Really fascinated. But one thing, Vivek, which I would like to tell you, which has been a very constant aspect of interacting with you or listening to you right now, is you're always pushing your limits. Have you felt that? Have you thought about that? You're always pushing your limits to the next levels?
I think the moment I hit a roadblock, I want to be there. The thing is that I think coming out of situations which is not very comfortable, that's why I came here. And these sort of fields, I think even the professors I met and the people who I'm working with, even today they say that I'm facing a roadblock in this research question. And I get that thrill every day waking up in the morning thinking about how I can overcome it. I think that's what really drives people. And I've thought about it since our interview with the professor, and that really makes sense. So in a way, we are all. I think we all have that innate tendency to enjoy that struggle and overcome it. So I think that aspect of mine is why I wanted to continue in research.
Super.
So I absolutely enjoy.
That's what our friend calls it as academia. Many people will not understand what is academia. Kindly enlighten that word also for parents and students, because many school-going children are also watching this interview. So
Absolutely.
That aspect alone, kindly enlighten us.
Yes. So academia is university-based research where you have a professor who applies for a grant. A grant is a certain amount of money you get for a specific research topic. And when you get that money, you will be working on a very small scale development project where you will develop the methods and the different data you can collect on a topic which has not been worked until now. So unlike industry, where you will be working on an already set process, you already have the documented process and you have the documented materials. So you know A to B and the journey. So you have to mass produce it and make it available for the public. So that is the industry part. The academia part is the complete research part where you start from scratch to making it a proper product, which you can explain and repeat that process again and again. So academia is the start of everything, and you take it to the groundwork. So that's the base of academia.
Super. To see Vivek as an young aspiring guy having lot of aspirations during your final year, and to interact you right now after 4 or 5 years, it's a whole lot of difference. I'm sure by the year 2030 you'll be in a different level, which I feel like we will do the second part of this interview. That interview will be just about your research, again to enlighten the audience basically. So when are you starting this position? When are you joining Uppsala?
So I'm supposed to be starting on the 3rd of February, but I'm waiting a little bit for my residence card to arrive. So which will take about a week more, a week, 1.5 weeks more. So once that happens, I'll immediately fly back. So I came here for my grandfather's 80th ceremony. So that's what I'm here for.
So got all the blessings from him.
Yes. So that's the biggest reason I came here. So about a month here and then I will go back. So that's the plan.
And anybody watching this interview wanting to get into this biomedical industry, biomedical engineering industry, any few technologies that they should focus on so that there will be a key, for example, there will be a good opportunities down the lane?
Yes. So whenever you choose your course, always take a course which has practical credits to it, because you learn the methodologies and the lab techniques in those labs. This is something which I struggled a little bit with, because during COVID time, we were not allowed to enter the labs directly. But I got my thesis from whatever little I had done from the pre-COVID time. So this is something which is a very valuable advice. Is every subject you take, be very careful as to the practical advantages you can get out of it. And between the year 1 and year 2, take a good internship at one of the labs. You might think that it is, oh, why should I work for free? Because that here, if you work in academia, you will not be paid for your work compared to industry. But the knowledge and experience you will get, the connections you will get is priceless. So that is my advice. Get a good internship during the first and second year in biotech if you want to stand a good chance.
Super. So, last 1 hour, we have spoken a lot of topics and I got to learn many things. especially about your brain chip technology. Really fascinating. And thank you so much. And before we sum up this beautiful interview, any last few words you wish to say to our audience?
Yes. So it's a very beautiful country. It's a lot of freedom to do everything you want. So all the more important that we keep track of what we came for here, and not forget to enjoy enjoy that work life balance aspect here. I love playing sports. You can be a runner, you can be a swimmer, you can be whatever you want in this country. So while you are studying and while you are working, make good friends, go talk with people. It's not very hard to make friends here. So come out of your nest and really enjoy the world here for what it is. And I think you will absolutely enjoy it, irrespective of the weather. It's a bit cold, but I think we'll enjoy the world here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Vivek. It was great talking to you as always. I could just feel the same vibes as I was talking to you when you were in your third year or your final year. Best wishes to you, and kindly convey our regards to your parents, grandparents, everybody. And we will catch up very soon. And all the very best for your research activities at Uppsala University.
Absolutely. And thank you for Euro Study Center and everyone for helping me reach this place. And I will always try to keep this in mind, and I'll keep you updated as to if I get to do anything which can help other students who are also willing to be in this field. So thank you very much for this opportunity and hope everyone enjoyed it. Thank you.
Wonderful, Dambi. Thank you so much and all the very best. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Stay same to you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.